Good morning. Welcome to today's premium public video forecast discussion for Wednesday, November 27th, 2024, as we get ready for Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you for watching this video and following along and allowing me to live my dream as a meteorologist. So I really appreciate it. Let's talk about the weather pattern as we get ready to head towards December. And if you like cold Decembers, if you like interesting Decembers with possibility of snow, this might be your December. Let's talk about some features here. First of all, a La Nina has failed to form. So it's a cold neutral state, and the statistics are going to be bouncing around between 0 and minus 5.5 degrees Celsius below normal around here. And you're going to get some colder water because you do have some colder subsurface waters, no doubt about that. But we don't get an established La Nina. So we still have a negative PDO signal here. Very warm Atlantic, some cooling, of course, naturally occurring in portions of the northwestern Atlantic. But this sets up right here with the Gulf Stream a nice area for cyclogenesis between polar air masses invading in from North America. And you have this very warm body of water, another cool body of water here. This signal would support at least the redevelopment of what we call 50-50 lows, 50 north, 50 west. And what those do is that sets up blocks. So a lot of interesting signals here in the sea surface temperatures. So with La Nina being practically La Nada, you have to keep an eye on things like what is happening with the MJO. And the MJO right now is moving through phase 4, 5, and 6. Now, here's the thing with tropical forcing, or any forcing of that matter, is that you don't want to lock yourself into stagnant rules in a chaotic, fluid medium, as in our atmosphere. So, what you want to do is, yes, look at the climatological statistical results of, let's say, a phase 4, 5, and 6. But also understand that sometimes those signals get overwhelmed by other factors. So far in the late fall and heading into the winter, the dominant influence is what is happening with the polar vortex. What the MJO tells us is basically the activity of the subtropical jet stream. And when you're in phase 4, 5, and 6, well, it doesn't exactly enhance the short waves for us in North America of this in the subtropical jet stream. It tends to lead to a drier weather pattern. At the same time, once we start moving into phases 7, 8, and 1, and possibly even 2, then things can get a little bit more interesting. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a winter storm when you have phases 4, 5, and 6 in place. It's just that you have to look for different mechanisms to cause that to happen. So it's important, A, to understand what the climatological influences of these phases are, but also understand that it's not always as easy as saying phase 4 equals X, right? Sometimes you have to look at the overall pattern that is developing and say, okay, how is this interacting with the rest of the atmosphere, the evolution of the polar vortex, the evolution of the polar jet stream, and how that's changing with high latitude blocking. And then you can start to gain a better idea on the forecast. And the best way to study that is to understand where the convection is developing in the tropics. And this forecast here on the European, which is the same as this, just in a different graphical way, shows us where all of our convection is, where all of our thunderstorms and moisture and best lifting is located. And that's in phase 4, 5, and 6. Now, why do we want to have phase 7, 8, and 1? Well, especially 8 and 1, that enhances convection around the date line. And when we have convection around the date line for North America, that enhances the subtropical jet stream. The enhancement of the subtropical jet stream interacting with the polar jet stream increases the potential for cyclogenesis on the East Coast, which increases the potential for winter storms. It doesn't guarantee snow will be in your backyard, but it certainly increases the potential of that. So we want to see this shift this way. And we're starting to see some indications that that might just happen as we move towards the middle of December, but we have some work to here to see whether or not that takes place, whether we're looking at more of maybe January of that shifting in. But right now, excuse me, right now it looks like the MJO is mostly focusing the convection away from a more favorable environment for the MJO to support an enhancement of the subtropical jet stream. And the best way to see that, let me see here, is this image right here. Again, right here. This is what we're watching for. You have all your convection here. You want it here for the subtropical jet stream to get enhanced and interesting shortwaves marching along. Doesn't mean you can't have a winter storm in this environment. It just makes it a lot more difficult. Now, in the meantime, we're talking about the stratosphere. And this is something I'm watching very carefully. As I was saying a couple weeks ago, the QBO is starting to weaken. Now, the QBO is basically, we're studying these winds up here. When the winds are coming in from the west and they're above 10 meters per second, and they're like, let's say, pushing 15, 20, 30, somewhere in this ballpark, that enhances the polar vortex. It makes it stronger. Stronger the polar vortex, the more likely cold air will be focused more towards the poles. But the QBO is starting to weaken, and we're starting to decline. And notice, see this up here. This is winds coming in from the east. And as you can see, they're starting to decline. They're now about around 20 millibars. They were all the way up at 10 millibars. They're starting to decline. And as a result, the QBO here at 30 millibars is starting to weaken. When the QBO at 30 millibars falls below 10, that is when you have a higher potential for high latitude blocking and more stretching of the polar vortex. I don't think we'll see a split. Even though the GFS is trying to force that, I don't buy it. Not yet. You need to have this core drop in, and that's way too fast unless something really weird happens. So a weakening, sure. So if we get into this zone here, hey, things can get a lot more interesting around here in North America. And what are we seeing from the model guidance? Right now we have a strong polar vortex, stretched but strong. And notice we're showing weakening. In some model guidance, very strong weakening. Very rapid. I think this is probably too extreme, but something like this, sure, it's in the ballpark. So this is pretty much your average line right here. And then this showing signs of the polar vortex weakening. So we don't need a full collapse of the polar vortex. We just need stretching. And so when we're seeing this, and you're seeing this stretching towards North America, this introduces polar and Arctic air masses right into North America and right into the eastern 2/3 of the United States. So as long as you see this signal, hey, you got a shot. You got a shot of getting sustained cold air. If this shifted towards, let's say this shifted towards Asia, and this stretched towards Asia, we would be very mild right now. This whole pattern evolution is driven by the fact of what we're seeing here with the stretching in the polar vortex. How that works out for January, well, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. But a couple of things that really keep on catching my eye here is one, at 500 millibars, we get lower into the atmosphere. This is now in the troposphere. 500 millibars, these shortwaves coming in from the Arctic are diving south towards the Hudson Bay. And that signal right there tells me you're going to get wave after wave after wave of polar and Arctic air masses coming in from Siberia, from the Arctic Circle, right into the eastern 2/3 of the United States. And in this pattern, yeah, there isn't going to be a lot of storm potential on this after Thanksgiving because the polar jet stream is dominant and your trough axis is out here. So you got a lot of what we call clippers. Yeah, they're back. They've been gone for a while, but they're back. But the one thing that really kind of catches my eye here, this feature right here, very interesting. So the reason why this is interesting is that, hey, it shoots off a couple of short waves, interacts with the polar jet stream here. We could end up with some interesting features to forecast for in the coming weeks ahead. So let's take a look at where we are at right now. We have high pressure and control. Tranquil conditions are in place for the day before Thanksgiving, one of the busiest travel days of the year. Temperatures range from the mid to upper 30s over the interior, lower to mid 40s along the coast, with tranquil conditions in place due to high pressure. Here's our storm to the west starting to organize and get itself together. Here's the disturbance that's going to be interacting with the polar jet stream and start to intensify. And so as this interacts with this upper level low, it'll become stronger, more organized, more moisture loaded as it's lifting northward. But also notice very progressive, very fast moving system. So yes, it's going to be a rather wet Thanksgiving for most of us and snowy in the higher elevations. But this is going to be a fast moving storm in relative to the rest of the pattern. You see on the water vapor satellite picture, this is just booking, and it will be in the Ohio River Valley by tonight, lifting through our neck of the woods by the time we get to tomorrow morning, on through tomorrow afternoon. On the infrared satellite picture, you can see the enhancement of the lifting starting to really strengthen here with this colder cloud tops showing up here over the plains and heading towards the East Coast. So when we take a look at the data here associated with this, we're going to focus on the next 90 hours with the 500 millibar PVA. And as you can see, very fast moving shortwave, very fast, and marching right through the region. So a nice little wall of rain marches right on through. Hey, look, we need it anyway. But then notice behind it, this upper level low sitting here and waves of these little short waves, which at the surface will come in as troughs. So not exactly the most quiet weather pattern after we get past Thanksgiving. So here we are on Thanksgiving. Why are we seeing rain? Well, because the 850 millibar low is going to be tracking right over us. So rain along and north and south of it. To the north, as this 850 millibar low develops, that's where you have your best potential for snowfall. So we're looking at the Poconos and Catskills, especially the higher elevations. After that, again, same signal here, series of those short waves rotating around a larger upper level low. So why is that important? Well, here we are, 850 millibars. Again, for tomorrow, plenty warm for rain along the coast, over the interior, especially above 1,200 feet. You have a better potential of seeing some rain snow mix, changing back over to snow. Then behind this storm, boom, there is your Arctic air invading the region, dropping 850 millibar temperatures down to around minus 11 degrees Celsius by the time we get to Saturday morning. So you have plenty of cold air in place over these warm lakes here that's going to set off lake effect snow, which is also going to interact with these little short waves that's rotating around. So we're going to have to watch out for a few rogue snow showers and squalls, especially around the Poconos and Catskills. But the entire region, don't be surprised through the weekend if you end up with a few flurries showing up. This type of setup typically leads to snow showers capable of a 10 to 20 minute little bursts of snow. Makes it look nice, a little festive, right? But certainly the theme here is that the cold air is here to stay. And so for our forecast for Thanksgiving, most of today is quiet. By tomorrow morning, say after midnight, we start to see rain breaking in. Snow starts to develop in your higher elevations. Our low pressure system lifts through right around the time we're dealing with we have the Macy's Day Parade. Waves of rainfall can be expected. Continuing on towards the noon hours. Again, there's our snow in the highest elevations. You're going to see a rain snow mix for many locations north over the northwest interior. And then our storm lifts out. By the time we get to the evening hours, and we're already jumping online to shop for Christmas or Hanukkah, or whatever holiday you might be celebrating this time of year, everything quiets down. But notice you start to see the snow band starting to develop here off of Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. And then going forward, this is where things get interesting, where you start to get these snow showers rotating on through as 850 millibar temperatures plummet. And again, you can get a few of these snow squalls breaking off and dropping in through the area as we move on through the holiday weekend. So overall, the expectation is, again, rain along the coast, by half an inch to an inch of rain. Most locations around a half an inch. In zone 3, that's where we can have a little bit of snow at the end, maybe a trace. Watch out for some slick roadways late on Thursday night into Friday morning. Zone 2, this is where we're going to get a little bit of snow, elevation dependent. The higher you are in elevation zone 2, the more snow you'll get. Again, we're looking only at a trace of 2 inches. Zone 1, this is where we expect most of the snow, looking at 2 to 6 inches again. The heaviest snowfall over 1,500 feet. So the higher you are in elevation, the higher your snowfall, because the more likely you'll stay all snow for this storm. So that's going to be moving through pretty quickly. And then after that, well, waves of polar and Arctic air, very unstable pattern. And with this type of pattern, you have to watch out for these little clippers swinging on through that could create a little bit of havoc. But as you can see, wave after wave of polar and Arctic air invading over the next 15 days. So if you like cold weather, this pattern is for you. So just diving through this forecast for today, look for scattered cloud cover with temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast. Tonight into tomorrow morning, rain starts to develop throughout much of the region. Snow in the higher elevations. Look for low temperatures in the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s in your suburbs, lower to mid 40s in your urban areas. Periods of rain throughout the day tomorrow, snow in your highest elevations. Look for high temperatures in the mid to upper 30s over the higher elevations, upper 30s to lower 40s over the rest of the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s in the New York City metro, lower to mid 50s in the Philadelphia metro. On Friday, storm exits. Snow showers and flurries linger, much chillier. Low temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. High temperatures in the upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, mid 40s along the coast. On Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, a series of weak troughs move through. A few snow flurries are expected, along with some scattered cloud cover. Look for low temperatures through this period, ranging from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast for lows. High temperatures will range from the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. And then on Wednesday, a little clipper moves through with some scattered snow showers. We'll see how much this organizes here. But right now, we're just going with scattered snow showers with low temperatures in the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast, and high temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, lower to mid 30s along the coast. That is your forecast discussion for today. Have a wonderful holiday. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will have a live chat tonight at 8 p.m. We'll do a quick rundown of the storm, answer any questions you might have. So it'll probably be a short one, but we'll be here at 8 o'clock. I hope to see you there too. In the meantime, stay safe out there.